Hi everybody, it's Diana with Stamping with Di. Welcome to my YouTube channel and this week's Mimeograph Monday with a twist. And I'm going to be using the really cute Festive Friends Bundle today. I did this as a class in the mail kit, and I do have a couple of those left over if you are interested. And I did show them in a video last week, so you can see the projects. It's super cute with the little elf, Santa, and the snowman, and then a really cute tree. So that's what I'm going to use today. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Diana, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm in Santan Valley, Arizona. So welcome. So if you are new, I'm in the chat room during the video premiere, so head on over there. Now, that being said, I am in Arizona, so we do not change our clocks. So if you are used to coming, because I always go at 3 o'clock Arizona time, that doesn't change for me, but it might change for you wherever you live. Like maybe before it was 5 o'clock for you, maybe then it's 6 or 4 or whatever. But just make sure you check. Just go to Google and say, what time is it in Arizona? That's what I usually do when I'm not sure, different times or whatever. So yeah, so I might be a different time in where you are if you do the savings thing, but we just don't ever change our clocks. So yeah, so I just wanted to remind you about that because I totally forgot that was going to be happening. All right, so I'm going to get started. So I'm going to do 2 projects. So I'm going to do the first one. It's going to be Stampin' Up's my take on a Stampin' Up sample, and then I'm going to put a twist on it and do it more my style. So this has been a fun series to do. All right, so enough being said about all that blah blah at the beginning. Let's get started. So I'm going to adjust my camera, so close your eyes just for a second while I do that. So here's the cute little Festive Friends Bundle, and it cuts out the little critters. It cuts out some fun trees. It's just really neat, and it has snowflakes. So yeah, so it's really cute. All right, so that's what we're going to be using. Now I did cut my paper ahead of time just to save some time, since I'm going to be doing 2 projects. And this is a note card. So all I did was I grabbed one of the note cards and envelopes. They come already scored and cut, and they're like a smaller version of a card. So I'm just going to go ahead and use one of those. I could have, cut down my own basic white, but these come already ready to go, and they have their little envelope, so I was like, I'm just going to use that. Now I'm also going to be doing some heat embossing. So I have my Versamark pad. We're going to do it with a little snowflake. I have my little tray. So this tray comes with the tray, obviously, a little brush. This holds your paper. It has a little embossing buddy. And then I just put my embossing powder in a little container. All right, so we're going to use our Versamark. Just making sure I got everything ready to go. And I have my heat tool off to the side already plugged in. So I'm just going to take the embossing buddy, and I'm just going to kind of put this around. I don't think it's as necessary when you're doing like a light cardstock, but definitely if I'm using a dark. All right. And then we're going to take our Versamark, and this is just going to make the embossing powder stick. So I'm just going to stamp my snowflakes around. And I'm not going to do the whole thing first because I don't want it to dry. And let that sit on there a second. And then I will do the rest. And then just try not to put your finger on it and smear that before you heat set it. let that kind of soak in a little bit before I, flick it off of there. All right, and I'm just going to put this behind me so I don't blow that all over. Okay. And then this is where this comes in handy. This little tool here, it's like a reverse, because you like pinch it to open it, then it holds the paper, and then you don't have to pinch it anymore. So I don't know, it's probably called something, but. All right, then I have my heat gun, my heat tool, and we're just gonna heat set all these pretty little white. And then this die also cuts out snowflakes. So at first I thought it was snowflakes, but like cut out, but it was actually, they're actually embossed on there. All right, so once it starts to change, you just move to the next snowflake. It doesn't take long once you've been, once the gun gets, or the heat tool gets warmed up, then it goes pretty fast. So this little hanger-oner makes it so you don't burn your fingers. You can also heat from the underside of the paper as well. And then I'm going to unplug it when I get it done, but it doesn't take too long. Look at those pretty little snowflakes. So I think that looks good. You don't want to overheat it because you can soak it in. It also, if you heat it too long, it's like it melts it into the paper. So you just want to heat set it and then be done. All right, so let me unplug. There we go. That way I don't forget. My Versamark lid on, and put that back there. All right, so we have this. Now this is going to go on here. Because you're not going to see the card back there. This is just going to get glued directly on here. So I'm going to use green tip glue. It's going to give me a little wiggle room to get that on there good, since it is cut the same size. And this just allows me to get it on there just right. Okay, and then we'll just set it aside. All right, we're also going to do a little blending brush. All right, so look how cute that is. And you can see the snowflakes really show. All right, now we also used, what is this DSP? Because that was not listed on the recipe. So here's the little recipe that I got, the stuff from. And this wasn't listed on there. So this is the Modern Christmas DSP, and it is so pretty because it's black and white on one side. I love that, fa la 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 la. But on the other side is like this gold foil designs and stuff. So it's super cute. All right, so we're going to use that. So that's what this is right here. And this little shape, actually, it's in the die. It makes a cute tag. All right. I need that. I need, I have all these little things over here. Hold on a second. All right, so I need this. I also want the greeting, and the greeting is, we wish you a Merry Christmas. So I'm going to stamp that, because I'm just going to fussy cut that out. And then we're going to color our cute little snowman. I really need to come up with a different word than cute, but it is cute. All right, we also want our Wink a Stella. Okay. So we're just going to take the pool party, and we're just going to put a little bit on the side here. And that's just going to, you know, make the eye see that, well, that's just white. So I'm just putting it on the side. And then I'm going to put a little bit on here as well. Okay. And then they used, like I would use pumpkin pie for the nose, but they used petal pink because I did use petal pink for the cardstock because I used it. So that's probably why they used the petal pink. And then they used Poppy Parade. So we have dark Poppy Parade for the scarf and then parts of the hat. So this is dark Poppy. I'm glad they used Poppy because that seems to be the one I use all the time too. Okay, and then we'll do light Poppy to finish it off. But these are really fun, and they're drawn like with a kind of a wide line, but they're a great size for coloring. And I love that the die cuts them out. All right. Now it makes these little pine trees, and when you do it, it actually pops this piece out here, and it's really, really skinny. So I don't know if because it doesn't say in the directions, but they did use basic black. And so I could cut out a tree in basic black and then just pop this out and glue it on the tree, but to me that sounds too hard. So I'm going to take just some basic black, and I'm just going to glue the tree on there and then just trim, because I'm thinking that would be easier than gluing that tiny little piece. So whether this is how they did it is beyond me, but that's how I'm going to do it. All right, so I'm just going to take my green tip, and we're just going to glue a little tree. So I'm just going to have to fussy cut that out. I don't think that will be too hard. We'll find out, won't we? All right. Because I was like, well, I could just do a little strip, but it's pretty wide, right? Like this comes out pretty close to the edge. So it's just as easy to put it on just this size, and then I'll just trim it. That's why we have scissors. All right, so I'm going to let that dry really good. All right, so while that's drying, I want to get my grid sheet back, because they also did a little ink blending on this. So I'm just going to take my pool party and my little blending brush, and they put a little bit on the bottom. And a little bit on the top. Okay. All right. I also want to cut my We Miss You Merry Christmas out. I'm just fussy cutting that out. And then let's see how easy this is going to be. So I'm just going to cut that out. And I think what will be cool is if you can see a little bit of the black on the side, it will make it have like a shadow, which I think would be super cool. All right, so I'll just trim. So it looks kind of neat because it emphasizes that, you know, the center of the tree. So like I said, they may not have done it that way, but it's given it the same look. So that is good enough in my book. Okay. Otherwise, you can just leave it, you know, white, like, and not put anything back there. And then you would just have, you know, the white center. All right, but I'm trying to do it so it looks like, you know, the Stampin' Up one. And yeah, that looks cool, right? With the black, what would you call that? Not the stalk of a tree. I don't even know. What is this of a tree? Never mind. We don't need to know. Okay, so let's bring these pieces over here. So we also have this. So this is Poppy Parade. And I'm just going to fold it to match up that. And then it's going to go right on here, and it matches this as well. So isn't that cute? It's the neatest little tag thing. All right, so I'm gonna put some green tip glue. Now I wouldn't have to wrap it around because this is gonna get glued onto the pink card, but I'm going to I'm gonna glue it on there. But you could cut it in half if you wanted to save, you know, save it for another card or something. But all right, so just match that little star shape up, and then we'll just fold that over like that. And then I'm going to put this on. It looks like it's glued right to the card because then the other stuff is popped up. So I'm just going to glue this directly to the card. Like that. And then we'll just build our little scene. So we have a couple trees. So this one's kind of off a little bit, off to the side. So I'm going to put this one right here. And then this one I'm going to put with glue dots. So they're going to kind of stick out a little more the closer they get to the front of the card. So then we have this one. And then we have this, like, more of a bushy pine tree. And I'm going to put him on with dimensionals. Ooh, I'm almost done with these. Okay. So he's kind of, now where's my snowman? This will help me. All right, because my snowman's going to go here. So I want this pine to be like that. And then our little snowman is going to go like that. So cute, right? All right, so I'm going to put the dimensionals on here so that I can make sure I'm putting them in the right spot, because I don't want, if I put him on the back of the snowman, I might be off a little bit and then it might be stuck to this tree and then he'll be like crooked. So this just makes it be a little bit easier. So I'm just holding him on there, and then I can come up here too, because his little hat will be up there. Oh, don't drop him on there. All right. So he's right there. He's so cute. And then they used the Wink of Stella. And I'm just going to assume that they put it on the snowman. So that it gives them a little, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, but it gives them a little shine. But, all right. And then we have to put our We Wish You a Merry Christmas. And that's going to go right on there. Let me get some more dimensionals. Merry Christmas that I've lost. Here it is. It's going to go over here. And I'll put another one off to the side a little bit. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And it will be here before we know it. All right. So there is the first card. This is the Stampin' Up version. And I love how that looks. All right, so now I'm going to do a twist. So let me just kind of get some of this stuff out of here. All right. So let's do a twist. So I'm going to, I've heard so many people like, oh my gosh, the ornament was so cute. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to show you how I did the ornament for class. This uses the Elegant Pine Snowflakes Designer Series paper. And I stamped the little guy with Memento because we're gonna, we're gonna color him as well. So I just used the Memento. Now these little ornaments I got off of Amazon, and I do have them linked over here on my blog. If you go to the top where it says My Favorite Things, that's where you're going to find them. I'm going to take a hole punch. So I'm just going to put my ornament on the Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to put a little circle there. And then that just tells me where to punch my hole out. So I'm going to punch out my hole. And this way, when I glue this paper on here, that hole's already there. And I'm just going to use green tip glue. Now I'm going to make this be to and from. So before I glue that, I'm going to see, because I stamped before with the stays on for the to and from, because I wasn't for sure if the Memento would bleed. So now I'm going to find out if it will bleed. So I think you could. I think you could do the to and from with Memento if you didn't have the stays on. I've got like embossing powder on my pad. So I think you could. Let's just see. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. All right, so we're just going to turn this over like that. All right. Then we're just going to put green tip glue on our ornaments. And then everybody got an emery board for the class so that we can get the DSP off of there. And I chose this paper because it's really pretty. I love the colors. It's kind of classy looking, but it doesn't have an upside or a downside. So if you're a little crooked when you're gluing, it doesn't really matter because the paper is just, you know, it's got pictures everywhere. All right, so I'm just going to leave this so it can dry really good before we use the emery board to take it away. So while that's drying, I'm going to color my cute little snowman. Now, I'm going to color him a little differently. So I am going to give his nose, like, I'm going to make his nose be pumpkin. I'm still going to use the pool party for the snow, like what the snowman is made out of, the snow, obviously. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some light pool party on the side. And that way it's like, oh, they forgot to color, you know, the snowman. So if by putting that little bit of color, it just gives him color, obviously. All right, now I'm going to go pumpkin pie for his nose. So we have dark pumpkin and light pumpkin. Cute, cute. I'm also going to take a gel pen and I'm going to put a little pupils or whatever in his eyes. And I think it makes him look a little more friendly, a little more realistic, like almost alive, right? All right. Now this paper has, it has peacock in there. I couldn't come up with the color in my head, so I'm going to color with peacock, and it's pretty dark, so I'm not going to use tons of it. I also am going to use Poppy Parade, so we used that before. I'm also going to use my favorite Granny Apple and Lemon Lime Twist too. So anywhere that I'm going to do red, I'm going to take the 400 and we're going to put a little 400. And then I'm going to go over it with the Poppy Parade, but this is going to give me a darker Poppy Parade. And then a little bit here. So his hat gets a little smaller as it gets to the edge. All right, so now we have our dark Poppy. So I'm going to go right over top of that 400 and out a little bit. And that 400 is just going to give you a little darker. So it basically gives you like 3 Poppy Parade markers basically. So any of the tones, like the brownish tones, I used to do it with the bronze before we had the tones because it works as well. So if you don't have the tone blends and you have, you know, the bronze and the ivory, just grab and do it with the bronze, and that works too. All right, and then we have the light Poppy. Hold on a second. All right. Mr. Gibbs is home from hunting and he's putting the clothes in the dryer, and I'm like, not when I'm doing the video. I had to wait to start the video while the washer finished. I used to have a door on my studio so I could close it, but it got like off track or something. I can't remember, but something happened to it. And then it wouldn't close right at all. And then, so we just took it right off. So now I don't have a door to close. All right, so then I'm going to go dark granny apple. And let's see, dark. Oh, I was going to do that peacock. Oh, well. We're just going to switch it up. All right, so dark granny apple. It'll be a little bit different. All right, and then we have our dark lemon lime twist. Okay, it'll just look a little bit different than I planned. All right, and then we have dark peacock. Now you could use shaded spruce too because that's in there. All right, so let's go up here. We'll do some dark shaded, but like I said, it's pretty dark, so I don't put tons. And then we have our light shaded. So cute. All right, so that's what I did. I skipped up one because I'm a goober. All right, so I wanted this band to be green, but I did that one. All right, well, let's just change it totally. We're going to put this as peacock. And then you can tell me which one you like the best. All right, so we have dark peacock. I was thinking this was going to be white. That's why I just totally ignored it. Okay, so dark peacock and then light peacock. It doesn't have to be all the same, right? Cute. He is cute no matter what way you do it. All right, so he is good. I'll let him dry really good before we mess with him anymore. All right, now this should be good. So this part gets a little messy. So I'm just going to take my snips and I'm going to cut pretty close to the ornament. So I don't have tons of DSP to take off. Because the less I have to, you know, clean off with the emery board, the better. Because this wood, I don't know what kind of wood this is. It's pretty thin wood. It might be balsa wood for all I know. Like, maybe that's what it is. So you don't want to be rubbing on it like too much. You know, because it's not oak or something like that. All right. So now we're just going to take our emery board. I'm going to take my ring off so I don't scratch it all to heck. All right, so we have this. So all we're going to do is we're going to take the emery board, and all you do is basically rub it on the side, and it cleans that designer series paper because it cuts it. So that's why I cut it kind of thin, like pretty close to the ornament, so we don't have a whole lot that we have to take off. So it doesn't take too long, but everybody got an emery board. But if you were doing a whole bunch of these, you might have to get, you know, you might have to use more than one emery board. And I do have these linked on my Amazon store too, because I got like a pack of 50 or something like that. But they're a nice, just a small size for crafts or your fingernails, whatever. All right, so I'm just going around the edges. So like I said, I'm kind of going on the side. I don't want to, I'm trying not to go too much flat. So I'm trying to go at an angle so it cuts so that I don't wreck the wood. That's why I'm trying to, like, I flip it and I grab another, like, you know, because after a while it gets loaded up with paper. All right, and I just usually do one ornament per emery board. All right. Now let's clean up our mess, because like I said, it's pretty messy. So usually I don't do it over my table. Usually I do it over the garbage pail, but I wanted you to see how I was doing it. All right, now I probably should have, now that I've been like messing with this, I probably would stamp that with Stays On, or do it last, right? I just wanted to try, because if it's smeared, then I could have glued the paper over top of it, but it'll dry eventually. But so now I probably would use the Stays On. But all right, so we have our little ornament, and we're going to take our cutie patootie little snowman. Now I'm also going to use these gold hoops, and these are available online. I don't think they're in the mini catalog, but they might be in the mini catalog. But these are the large gold hoops. And when you're not using them for crafts, they're lovely as a bracelet. All right, so we're gonna put that on there. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of green tip glue. I don't want a lot, because we're also gonna use the shimmery paste. That's also going to hold it in place. All right, so let me get this up. And you could maybe use hot glue too. I mean, it's totally up to you, but all right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of green tip, and it will dry clear. And I'm just going to plop that on like that, and then just kind of hold it, you know, just kind of hold it in place, let it, you know, kind of soak in there. All right, then we want our little snowman. I'm trying to find some big dimensionals. All I have is little tiny ones. All right, well, we're going to use the little tiny ones. I mean, I have big ones, but I'm trying to use up what I have on my desk, and that seems to be all baby ones. So we have our snowman. Gotta love when the backing flips on top of itself. All right, and then I'm gonna put him on here. So I'm just making the ornament be straight up. All right, and I'm gonna bring him up a tad because we're gonna add some snow. So I'm gonna put him there. I'm gonna take my gel pen, and I'm just gonna put a little gel pen on his hat, and maybe a little bit on the scarf as well. Okay. Because what I want to do is I want to get the whole ornament done before I put the snow on, so that I'm not touching it while it dries. So I'm also going to put, we have these really adorable little peppermints. So I'm going to put some peppermints around him. So one, and these come in different sizes. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good. I can always add more. All right, so we have that. It also comes, these little ornaments also come with this string. And they also come with like markers, but I didn't use the markers. I think that's more for like kids. But I'm just gonna loop this on here. And this way, you know, now I'm done with the ornaments. I would go like this and put another little loop-de-loo here. So it's like that. And then that way, if the person wants to hang it on their tree, then they've got that loop-de-loo. All right. So I think he's done. But I'm going to take the shimmery paste. And I have just taken the bag that it comes in, and I've put it over top to try to keep like the air from getting in there, because you don't want the air to get into your paste, because you want to keep it nice and pasty, right? All right, so then I'm just going to hold it like that, and we're going to put some snow on the bottom of our snowman, so it looks like he's standing in like a snow drift or whatever. So I'm just tapping it in there, and this is the shimmery white paste. But now he's got this really cute little snow, and I'm going right over top of that gold hoop. So that's also going to glue it down, you know, so it's not going to go anywhere. And that looks really cute. And then clean that off your finger. But look how cute that is. It almost looks like whipped icing. I'm going to put a little bit there. All right. I'm just going to sit him on here so he can dry a little bit, because what I want to do is I want to clean this off, because this stuff dries pretty fast. So I'm cleaning off my tool, and then I'm putting the bag back over top. So just put that on there, and then put your lid back on there. And this just doubly, like I can't tell you a year from now, you know, that air might not have, you know, found its way into there and it gets it hard. So usually I get a new one of these. If I'm going to make a bunch of ornaments like for Christmas, I usually just buy like a new one of these, and then I'm good to go just in case. Because nothing's worse than you think, oh, I have a whole jar, you know, because I didn't use a lot of it, and then it's hard. So I just usually grab a new one just in case. But look how fun. So here's the one. So I'll show you both of them, because this guy's dry. So see, it just dries all hard, because I don't want to touch that yet. But you can see the difference, you know, in the two coloring, because I did the opposite on the hat. I wasn't paying attention. So, but he's cute either way, and I just love. So I'm gonna make some more of these. They're really fun to give as you can stick it on a present, and then you have the two in the front, on the back. So then the presents, and then they can use that, you know, on their tree, or they could maybe, you know, do whatever they want with it. All right. So here is. I'll just move these two aside, and then as it dries. See, it has that shimmery look to it. See, you can see the shimmery. But when it's wet, you don't see it as much. So it doesn't show a shimmer till, you know, till it dries. But he is so adorable. And so here was a Stampin' Up, you know, their version of a cute little card. And then little ornament. So you could even give it, you know, as a pair, right? I forgot that this little card here had iridescent faceted gems on it. So I did add those at the end. And as you can hear in the background, the dryer's on. like you could, you know, maybe put a gift card, because these are perfect for like little gift cards. So you could put a gift card in there and then, you know, give them an ornament to match. So let me know which one you like the best. If you liked, you know, the darker brim or the lighter brim. But I love either one. So I'm going to say, see you later, alligator. I love, love, love that. I love doing these little ornaments. And I loved the gold ring on there. It really just, it adds some class to it because you can see that, you know, you can see it there. It just makes it look pretty. And I think if they hang it on the tree, it's going to catch the lights too, right? All right, so I'm going to stop blabbing. I will see you tomorrow for my Teach Me Tuesdays, and that will be 3 o'clock Arizona time, same channel. Remember, if you changed your time for the daylight or whatever it's called, it might be an hour different for you. So just like I said, Google what time is it in Arizona to know for sure. All right, so I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to be showing you the really cute little mini masterpiece for November. I had so much fun making that one. So make sure you join me, and I'll see you then. All right, bye for now.